So no, I just refuse to pay for the recertification activities. And if I do pay, it has to be a very small amount, or it has to be something really, really easy to get. I participated in a lot of recertification activities over the years, and I've only paid twice. Hi, my name is Angela Murray, SHRM SCP, SPHR, and your favorite HR exam coach. First off, let's celebrate. Balloons, confetti, fireworks, all the good stuff. You've earned your highly coveted SHRM certification, and I know firsthand the work that went into that. But your journey isn't over. I know you don't want to be back in this same spot 3 years from now, so it's time to start thinking about recertification. SHRM does not let you breathe. It's certification, then recertification, then recertification again. But in this video, I'm going to walk you through the easiest and the least expensive ways of earning your PDCs. And I'm going to give you a few places that you can get those PDCs as well. So stick around and let's get started. First things first, let's talk about what PDCs are. So SHRM's Professional Development Credits. These are PDCs, and these are units of measure used by SHRM. They use them to quantify your learning and your professional development activities for recertification of either the SHRM CP or the SCP credential. Depends on which one you sat for. So the PDCs are SHRM's way of making sure that once you hold that SHRM certification, you continue to be active in HR, you increase your knowledge, you increase your competence, and you continue to contribute to the advancement of HR. So SHRM requires recertification every 3 years, and accumulating these PDCs makes sure that you meet the criteria to keep your certification active. You do remain certified for 3 full years. Certification ends the last day of your birth month, following the end of the certification period. So if you were certified February 5th, let's say 2024, and your birthday is August 5th, then your certification ends August 31st, 2027. Certification runs the full 3-year cycle, then ends with your birthday after the cycle runs completely through. You are given a 60-day grace period, but if you don't fulfill your certification obligations before the grace period runs out, your certification is completely revoked. Of course, there's money involved. So the fee for recertification is normally $175 for non-SHRM members and $135 for members. But if you enter into the grace period, the fee increases by $50. So instead of the $175, you're now paying $225. Instead of the $135, you're now paying $185. Now, of course, as I said, they do give you a full 3-year period. So there's really no reason for you to enter into that grace period. You just have to plan accordingly. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, you would think that since you have to pay a fee to be recertified, the activities to get the PDCs would be free. Well, they're not. Well, at least not all of them are. And the ones that are free, they are the hardest to find and they fill up the quickest. Surprise, surprise. But I am a firm believer that we've paid enough. We've paid for the exam, you pay for the recertification, you pay with your blood, sweat, and tears in the first place. So no, I just refuse to pay for the recertification activities. And if I do pay, it has to be a very small amount, or it has to be something really, really easy to get. I participated in a lot of recertification activities over the years, and I've only paid twice. So today I'm going to show you how to get the biggest bang for your buck. I'm going to be covering all of the recertification activities that are completely free, the ones that are very low cost, and the ones that are easiest to get. You're going to need 60 PDCs to keep your certification. And you have 3 ways that you can get these PDCs. Number 1, advance your education. Number 2, advance your organization. Or number 3, you can advance the HR profession as a whole. Now, in my opinion, the easiest way to earn PDCs is to use a combination of all 3 of these things. But for right now, we're going to focus on the first one, which is advancing your education. So the good thing about earning PDCs through educational advancement is there's no maximum amount that you can earn. So that could really be a gold mine if you just really find something that you like to do. But I'm going to give you a couple of different ways that you can earn educational credit. If you're currently in a graduate program or you're an undergrad, you could earn PDCs if your coursework aligns with one of the behavioral competencies. So maybe a course in leadership or a course in ethics, or maybe you have a course in communication. Now, it does have to be through an accredited university or college. You have to get at least a C to get the credit. You can earn 50 PDCs per credit hour per semester, up to 30. So if you take a class that's 3 credit hours, you would max out at 30, not 45. This is an easy way to get some PDCs if you're already in school. I mean, it's not really that inexpensive, but if you're in school anyway, it's pretty much free. Another way to earn continuing education credit is to use e-learning. One of my go-tos is the Josh Burson Academy. I really like this. These are e-learning courses. They are inexpensive, and you can get a lot of PDCs at once. I've gotten 10 from one course, but usually they're somewhere between 5 and 7. But the fee is really small. It's like $49 a month, and you really could pay for 2 months. And if you're just really committed, you could probably get all of your PDCs in those 2 months. Another way to earn continuing educational credits is with e-learning from like podcasts or webinars. So for every 15 minutes you listen to a podcast or a webinar, you could earn a quarter of a credit. So if you were to listen to a 1 hour podcast or a 1 hour webinar, you could earn one whole PDC. So you could really listen to a 1 hour podcast each week if you find one that you really like, and you could have your PDCs in a little bit over a year. Now, I usually opt for podcasts because I just really don't like webinars very much. So I really don't have a lot of webinars to suggest to you, but I do have a few that I've used in the past. I've done the E-Verify webinars, and they are actually pretty helpful. HR.com also has some free webinars that are recognized by SHRM. You can just go to their archives and view the webinars. They only allow 5 per month. Now, a big one that I'm really starting to get into is HR Summer School. It's been a yearly event since 2020, and you can earn 7.5 PDCs at HR Summer School. Now, as far as podcasts, my go-to is Honest HR. I really like that one. I usually keep it playing in the background while I'm working or while I'm showering or while I'm doing whatever. It's pretty good. It's mostly insightful. I also listen to All Things Work pretty faithfully, and from time to time I also listen to Work Trends. So again, continuing educational credits, that offers like the biggest chance of earning PDCs because again, there's no limit. You could really earn all 60 PDCs in that way, but of course I suggest that you spread your effort out among all 3 recertification avenues to keep you from getting bored. The easiest way to earn PDCs, in my opinion, is through the advancement of your organization. You can earn a maximum of 30 PDCs, and that's half of what you need if you take on a project that advances your organization. And what I mean by taking on is that you spearhead that project or you significantly contribute to the project's outcome. So you need to keep very robust documentation. You need to keep documentation of the research, the outcomes, and you can then submit that for PDCs. Now, there is some criteria that you have to meet. To earn the maximum 30 hours, you have to complete at least 120 hours on the project. 40 plus hours, you earn 10 PDCs. 80 plus, you get 20 PDCs. The project does need to be overseen by your manager or supervisor, and it does need to be based on one of the behavioral competencies outlined in the SHRM BASC. So, for instance, I spearheaded in my organization the formation and the implementation of employee resource groups. I was able to count all the research, the design, the promotion, the construction of the surveys, the focus groups, the monitoring of the ERGs, and all of that amounted to about 200 hours of work. So I got the full 30 PDCs. I was going to do it anyway, so I just used it kind of as a twofold. And of course, you don't have to take on something like that big as creating ERGs. It could be something like organizing workplace socials. It could be organizing different holiday observances. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as it aligns with one of the behavioral competencies. So as long as it reflects one of those competencies and you keep your documentation and you keep your notes, then it can be counted. Okay, we're wrapping it up with advancing the HR profession. Now for me, this one is the most complex. because it requires you to really put yourself out there, and it requires you to be thorough and keep very good notes. There are quite a few ways that you can do this. The one that I use most often is mentorship. So if you can find a formal mentorship program and you take on a mentee, you could earn PDCs for that. 1 PDC for every hour that you spend with your mentee. Another way that you can do it is to author or co-author a book. That does count for a recertification if that book is published by a third party. So that doesn't mean you self-publish on Amazon. It has to be a third party. You could also take on some volunteer activities. And in that way, you're kind of giving back to your community while you're also helping yourself get the PDCs. So if there's an opportunity for you to volunteer in a nonprofit in some HR capacity, you could earn PDCs for that. So you can earn 1 PDC for every 1 hour of volunteer work. So you can think about, volunteering in some of your local HR chapters. A lot of times they need help with events or workshops or some community outreach. In my hometown, there is an organization that helps out-of-work individuals with resume writing and interview skills, and sometimes I volunteer for that. I think the easiest way is to write a letter to Congress or your state legislature regarding some advancement of HR. This one is pretty easily documented, so it's easy to prove, but it only gives you 1/4 of a PDC. So there's that. I mean, I don't know how much effort or time you want to put into that, but if you're just missing a couple of PDCs or you're missing, a half PDC or something, that's an opportunity there. So that gives you a good starting point, but this video covers free resources or very low cost strategies. Now, of course, you can opt for some paid alternatives, and they might be more appealing to you. As for me, I try to stick with free. I like free. I rarely pay for recertification credits. It has to be something that I really want to do anyway, like the SHRM conference. I like the travel and the networking aspect of it anyway, so I can get a lot of PDCs there, so I'll pay for that. One of the biggest tips I can give you is to start early. Once you get certified, give yourself a week or 2 off, then start looking for your recert credits. If you start early, you can be more selective about, the way that you get your recertification credits. And you actually have time to accumulate the 60 PDCs using free resources. If you wait and you feel like you're under the gun, you're probably just going to have to end up paying or just taking whatever you can get to get it done. So let your fellow HR colleagues know where you found PDCs. I feel like as soon as people earn their credentials, the next thoughts is, I never want to do that again. Where do I find recertification credits? And it's a huge help for everybody to just pull and share their resources. So again, let everybody know in the comments where you found your PDCs, and leave the links in the comments as well, so that when people come after you, they can just click on the links and get to the PDCs pretty quickly. Until next time, bye.